gloomy looking morning. We just came through lots of cold weather at the first of the week. This is Friday. And that was like Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday, some kind of southerly wind came in, and we ended up with the next 2 days progressively warmer. Yesterday it was actually 77 degrees in February. It's been an interesting week, and then today I've got a jacket on again. So it's welcome to Memphis. Technically I'm not Memphis, but it's close enough. I'll be in Memphis soon, and I'll probably just show you bits and pieces of my day today. A typical day in the life. In the state liquidator. I've got several stops I've got to make, some personal, some not. We got awakened this morning. I was putting things in the car. I got probably, I'd have to count them up, but I think it was around 40 listings up yesterday, which is highly unusual for me, but all the grandkids and kids and all of that were out of the house, and I stayed in jammies all day and stayed focused, and somehow or another it all came together like a perfect storm. But I got a lot of listings up and active and live, and I relisted probably that many. So my store is full and hopefully chugging away for the weekend. But I got up this morning to a lot of stuff that I was putting in the car and all of that kind of stuff to leave out for today, because I'll probably be gone all day. We started hearing all kinds of sirens and all kinds of things, and as of right now I still don't know what's going on there, but I live at the back of a really quiet neighborhood. I've been there almost 25 years, and so all of us know each other pretty much back there. There's some newer ones up on the front end of all the coves that I live across from. There's like 3 or 4 coves that I live across from, and backed up to some woods and some land and stuff, so it's like being out in the country, but not. We still see deer and stuff come up in there. So, but I woke up to all kinds of sirens and firepower up in one of those coves, so it's no telling what went on up there. A little scary thinking about it. When I went by that cove, because I have to go by it to go out of the neighborhood, on one end of the neighborhood where I was going, and there were at least 3 fire trucks down there, fully outfitted fire trucks that zoomed in there, and we had at least 2 ambulances, and I think there was a 3rd one up in there. I couldn't tell if that was actually an ambulance when I went by. We had the fire marshal up there. There's a rescue squad with the little tag-along trailer behind it was there. There were at least 3 or 4, I think there were 4 police squad cars there. There were all kinds of uniformed cops crawling the area. They weren't running, but they were all over the area over there. And a lot of outfitted fire people on the ground. So I don't know if, you know, I didn't see the tax squad or the bomb squad there, but other than that, we saw a lot of firepower up in there, so it's no telling what went on. I told my daughter, unfortunately, with that much firepower, the way that they do things down here, I used to be a crime scene cleanup person, and my best guess is there was either a suicide there or some type of in-house crime there. That's just a guess. Could have been something with the meth squad, but I didn't see any biohazard truck there or anything. Not yet, and that's usually one of the first on the scene, So we're praying for that situation, those neighbors, that family. You know, you don't know what's going on, and it's a little scary. But I'm going into Memphis now. I've crossed over into Tennessee while we were talking. That's how close I live to Tennessee. I had just left my house, so about 4 miles south of Memphis, Tennessee, the border. Going through the back part of what they call Whitehaven, and I'm going to pay my house note because it's convenient. I'll pay my house note, And if I get a chance and the traffic's not too bad and it's not too crazy down there, I'll take you by the front of Graceland and see if we can snap some pictures. I'll have to, or snap some video, I guess. Do you say snap? I don't know if you say snap. Anyway, we'll film a little bit if I can get by there and at least show you what the gates look like and stuff like that. So I'll cut away for a minute. We'll see what happens today. Lots on the list. So I'm kind of taking a cut through to my bank. This little house right here, I did a unusual estate sale there. The family came in, and it was a great aunt that passed away, and she was like 95, I think. And about 2 years later, the husband passed away, and he was already a couple of years older than her, so that tells you something about how long he lived. He actually owned a, well, first of all, he worked for MLG&W, which is Memphis Light, Gas, and Water, down here, and he was like the supervisor for them and stuff, very well known in this area. And they developed all of this area, that this neighborhood, I don't know if you can see it, but a huge neighborhood back in the back is there. Lots of old homeland. You can look on a lot of the plats on the internet and see, you know, all of the plats from like the 1930s, 1940s, 50s on up, you know, before Memphis was really Memphis and coordinated and stuff. Anyway, didn't want the cop to think I was in distress there as he went past. But as you can see, there's got a little tool shed right here. And I'll just continue to tell you what's going on. Let's see if we can hook you up. There you go. We'll continue on so we don't throw off the neighborhood. This is not the best neighborhood in the world. You might think I'm casing the joint or something. The man worked for MLG&W, was very well known around here. Everybody knew him by name for years and years and years. And he was like one of their spokespersons on TV, you know, when they would show up on TV and all of that. And he also, interestingly enough, owned a marine salvage diving company. And they would go on excursions up in Alaska and off the coast and just all kinds of places. And they would bring back treasure. They were treasure hunters, which was very interesting. And I had the sale only on the tool shed area because the family came in and she had a lot of antiques and things like that. And they took what they wanted to and all this, and then they brought in all these dumpsters and dumped what they thought was trash that was probably not trash, knowing what I know about estate sales and setting up for them. And they did that far before they talked to me. But I think they all got tired. The cousins, there were cousins, and, you know, everybody had died off. I mean, mommies and daddies and all of their kids, and, you know, everybody had died off, and it was being taken care of by a great-great-nephew and a couple of his cousins, and they lived out of town. He lived in town, and so he ended up getting hooked up with me through a referral, which is how I get most of my work now. Short story is, I went in and I cleared that tool shed. That tool shed was a 3-bay, and it was so full of stuff between the things that he brought out, like old street signs and lights, old street lights, and I mean, I can't even begin to tell you everything with a motor that you could think of. You know, he had the motors sitting there, and a lot of them were seized up, but a lot of them weren't. And I even sold the seized up ones because a lot of them were practically antique. And those 3 bays were so full that we could get into the 3rd bay, and we had to walk sideways to get in there. That's where his office was. And he actually actively had an office and actively had office records up till 3 years before I got in there to do the sale, which is impressive. It was all handwritten. It wasn't on the computer, but he did have office records and things for the salvage company and all that, and I'm quite sure that he did not do any diving at that age, but he had people that still did apparently. But we sold some of the old block and tackle. We sold all kinds of, they had all kinds of wooden and metal boxes and crates and all kinds of, it was an amazing sale. It really was. It was one of the best sales that I've ever had. He had a couple of smelting kits where he would make his own weights and all kinds of stuff. That's been probably about 2 years ago now, so I did that one. And we're driving through the back of Whitehaven now, coming up at this rough area. This is where I grew up, but it was not rough at all. It was the up-and-coming area. Graceland is not far from here, so if you ever come to visit Memphis, don't stay near Graceland. Come to South Haven. I'd rather stay in South Haven. I think it would be a little bit safer. So I'm going to pay my bill, and then we'll see if we can make a quick run through past Graceland and let you see the gates and all of that. So this is what they call Whitehaven, and there is a neighborhood kind of off over this way, wherever it is. I don't know if you can see me. Off to my right. That's called Graceland. That's where I grew up. Not in Graceland, but in the neighborhood. And we are coming up to the complex. It'll be up here past this light on the right, and then I'll try, and I'm not sure how they've changed the parking up. They tore down the Heartbreak Hotel within the last couple of months and sold off pieces of it, and they've redone the complex up here since I've been up here. When I lived here, of course, this house used to be a church. It was a personal home, and then it became a church for a while. And let me tell you this first. This is the gate. You see all of the, let's see if I can pull in here. I should be able to. But all of the gate side and all of that, they let you pull off on a little service road over here, and all of this, it has all kinds of signatures on it from over the years. I can actually find my mother's if I've got my mother with me. It's been years since she had that, so let's see if we can pull up here. I forgot they had this service road. I've lived here all my life, but you know, you get to where you don't really pay attention. Okay, I'm here at the gate of Graceland. This is funny. Mark is an old family friend. Mark Lacker, L-A-C-K-E-R. His sister and I, Sherry, were best friends in high school, and we've been friends for years. And her dad, Marty Lacker, was best man at Elvis's wedding to Priscilla. And Sherry and I used to come up here, and we'd try and find people's names on this wall that we knew. It's really kind of cool. It's one of those things that is in my backyard, and I don't really think that much about it until I get out and look at it again. But Sherry and I used to sit on this wall on the back side. There's a back side to it, and I won't show you. I don't have enough battery power today. But Sherry and I used to go and sit on the wall at the back, and we'd watch them running the horses and stuff, and we'd see Elvis every once in a while. Of course, she saw him all the time. She lived in the house for a while. Let's see if I can zoom in. I don't know if it'll let me. Yeah, it'll let me. That's Graceland. You can see it's not a huge house. It's big, you know, but it's not. By today's standards, it's not huge. We used to see them ride all over the land and stuff over here to the right and back around to the back. There were all kinds of horses and stables. And my teacher, Barbara McGregor, had a husband that did the tack and stuff for Elvis. So we get We used to go through his shop and things. They took us on a school trip there one time. We're across from what is the complex now. And it looks pretty boring. It used to be really fun. There's the Lisa Marie. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. The plane he had for her, named for her. A lot of the buildings and things here, you see the tour buses. They take you on tour buses if you want to go on that, or you can do a walking tour through. And it looks pretty much like it does in the pictures. But all of these buildings hold all kinds of treasures. It's really quite interesting to go through. I'm 57, and I was about 42, I think, if I remember right, 42 or 43, the first time I ever went through the house itself. How funny is that? My mom dated his cousin, Wayne Mann. Bye, Mark. Dated Wayne Mann for a while, so she was able to be in the house and all of that in high school, so it was a big deal to her. Just the top of the house. I don't know if you can see it. There goes the tour bus full of people. But I was a freelance writer for Memphis magazine for a long time up here, and one of the articles that I did was on Hardy Phipps. And Hardy Phipps, well, that's cool. Fun times. Hardy Phipps made a larger-than-life nativity set that is still being put up at Graceland every year, and I interviewed Mr. Phipps and went through his house. He did a lot of work for Disney World the first year that it was open. He made a lot of the animated pieces and things like that. I bet she still does. What do you think? 2017? Yeah, she does. She hasn't changed. See, a lot of these are very, very old. Been here a long time. But it stretches all the way down and all the way north. But yeah, my mom used to sit around the pool sometimes. She got to do that. Miss Gladys, his mom, would make biscuits. She cooked and did all of that. So I am coming up on my little lady's house. She's a single mom, and she has bought out things from my storage units and my estate sales and things like that before, and she has a little unique business plan. She just tries to make some extra money to help pay a few things like we all do, and she lives here, and we just drop money in her little porch mailbox, and she has our stuff sitting out on whatever day we're going to pick it up, but she just does an online auction, and most things are like $5 and under. Every once in a while she'll have something a little bit higher, but she buys things for pennies on the dollar just like I would. And so I got my money. I bought $9 worth this time, and I'll show you on the end of the video or somewhere. If I don't forget it, I'll show you what I got. So here are the 3 items I got. This is one of them. I've got to clean it up, and I've got to clean the mechanism. She had told me what kind of condition that this was in. These 2 pieces here will come off. I have to glue those back. But this is a Thorens. It's one of the old German ones. And let's see. I got it for $5. I couldn't remember for sure. $5 on it. I also got these. Paul Bunyan. It's like the old Lincoln logs or whatever, where you can make the log cabin. In her picture, she didn't have the top on it. She just had them sitting there, but it looks like they're pretty full. If they're not all here, it says 100 pieces, so that's all right. they're not all here. They'll still sell. I'll put them in my booth. And I also got these. These are a good thing to be on the outlet for. Let's see if I can find them. Some of the old Even Flow glass ones. Got a few with tops, some without tops. Got some of those. Let's see, how many do I have? 6, 5, whatever it is in there. Those are the 3 items I got. The toy logs were $2, which was a steal. The wood musical, like I said, the music box was $5. That was also a steal. That's probably, for that particular one, I'd have to look it up or whatever, but with it having the key and everything, I mean, you know, it basically, it works, and I can sell it in that condition, or I can go on and clean it up. I mean, you're looking at anywhere from $30 to $75, depending on which one it is. I didn't even look it up. I just knew what the name was. And then the bottles, all of those I got for $2. And those sell pretty well. Look them up. Even Flow. But since I'm around the corner from one of my favorite shops that I don't get to very much, I'm going to pop in there. I may or may not find anything. I usually find a lot, but I usually go on a Monday. And they have like a 99-cent sale, so we'll just see what we see. I found out when I walked through the door that Tuesdays are senior days, and I'm 57, and they honor at 55 or above. So that is awesome sauce. See, there's the sign. And it's 30% off on seniors, and if it's a blue tag, it's 50% off today. So let's see how many blue tags we can find. Okay, so I'm gonna film real quick before I lose my battery. I found Hard Rock Cafe shirt, $2.98. Everything was 30% off unless they had a blue tag. It's half off on that. Got a package of these, $3.98. There's about 6 of them. Got these for my grandbabies. That'll keep them busy. Got this for my grandbabies. If it doesn't have the whole thing in there, it's no big deal. Just toss it. But half off of that. Got this maybe for my son-in-law for his birthday. I don't know. He likes Star Wars and stuff. I don't know if it's his style, so I may end up selling it, but it's his size. But it's all the Star Wars and all of that, and it's brand new with tags. It was 30% off of that. Got this. I just kept going back to it, and I thought, okay, well, you know, clowns are people too, people that want to kill you. And that was $1.98. I bought this pack of cards, 30% off $1.98 because of the Red Hat Society ones. If they're all in there, that's probably worth around $12 shipped. Another Hard Rock. That one's Washington. Same price as the other. Valentine's for the grandbabies. They like weird stuff, so I'm going to give them that. Lots of books. All the children's books, and that's all I got this time was children's. Are 45 cents, and of course I got my discount. Got that one for me. You gotta have something to do, right, besides junk. Sell those in a lot, 45 cents a piece minus the discount. Got a couple of little golden books. Got one of these for $1.98. It's a Hinkle. So it was half off of that. Valentine buttons for my babies. And last but not least, salad tossers. These will sell in my booth. I've got a salad bowl in there I can put them with. That's what I got at City Thrift. Well, I got a lot of things off my list today. I'm headed through Hernando, Mississippi, going through the town square here. This is where my bin store is located. got a lot of my bills paid and running around done and errands and all that kind of stuff, and it's almost 3 in the afternoon. It's really a little later than I like to go to the bin store. They close at 8, and by this time of day they've brought out a bunch of the bins and a lot of the people go home. But as you know from looking at my other videos, I end up finding a bunch of stuff that people miss sometimes. So I'm gonna go by there, see if there's anything that I just can't live without. I'm trying to pare down what I'm actually buying from the bins. I usually use it more for clothing anyway, but I'm getting into more of the clothing online and accessories, purses, some shoes, not a lot yet. But I was selling a whole lot of the hard goods and things like that because I could put it a variety of places. I could sell it in some sales at my house, or set up at the flea market if I wanted to, or sell it online on some of the online apps like OfferUp or something like that, which I will still be doing all of that. And I could put it also in my booth. Well, as of today, my notice has been put in at my booth. I'm just not selling down there. I don't know if they're not advertising like they used to, because I'll pull the things out of the booth and they'll sell online. So, you know, I don't know that it's my merchandise necessarily as much as it is. I don't really know what's going on with the booth. So that's when you start reevaluating. And I reevaluated it over Christmas time, and it was real sluggish and slow for a lot of us. And then I stayed there another month evaluating. So I will be there, this is the middle of February, I'll be there through the end of this month and on into March, but I just went on and told them I'd be out by the end of March. So I don't have much battery left, and hopefully this won't flip back to La La Land. But I'm just going to show you real quick a couple of things I bought. I'll probably do a haul video on some of this, or a combined one. As you can see, I spent $53.01, and it looks like out of all of this I had 21 pounds of clothes, which is a variety of things in here. Lots of swim, lots of thongs and things like that. Those things sell well. If you don't have the bottoms to them, it doesn't matter. They sell anyway. So be sure and pick those up. Picked up some things like Pac-Man hat. Got an estate sale this weekend with a lot of ladies' hats in it that I've already brought from storage and stuff, and from other estates. I found another one. That one is a Frank Palma. Cool old purse. It just looks like the estate I'm going to. It's for $2. I picked it up. We'll see if we can get about 15, maybe 20 for it. It's dirty inside, but they don't care usually. Because sorry, I think it cut off, and if it does again, I guess I'll do something else, right? Lots of hats. This one is a cool one. Kangol. That's a bolo. You need to watch for those. That's about a $25 to $35 hat, even in the shape that it's in. Found a Harley Davidson down in here somewhere, an HD hat, HD Museum, but it actually has the Harley on it. And I'm going to make sure that this is authentic to Harley Davidson, but it should be. Found some unopened ink, and then found a pack of unopened ink. This one was 50 cents, this one was $1, and it's 4 of them in there. Found PlayStation. This one's worth, I think it's around 12 right now, if I remember right. Had to get this because I've got a lot of items that are Jewish items, but she also has some that are from the era, and yes, about Hitler and things like that in this estate. I'm going to throw that one out there. It's 50 cents. We'll see if we get $4 or $5 for it, something like that. The last two items, found one of these lovely cameras. Even if they don't work, it's real clean inside. I won't open it up now, but it's real clean inside. Everything seems to work on it. And last but not least, look what I found for $2. Awesome, huh? Even if it's non-working, these will sell. Yes, it has a battery pack on it. This opens. It's got the cover on it. So I'll have to check that out when I get home. That was a huge score in 2.5 hours. $50 later. I've probably got at least $400 worth. Maybe a little bit more. I love to junk. Happy junking.